999ers risk their lives every day, keeping us safe.
My heart was racing, but you just do it because you're a police officer.
But all too often, they're abused and attacked.
I have been punched, kicked, spat at, sworn at. I think most of us have.
These personal attacks on police, firefighters and paramedics are at an all-time high.
I could feel the blood running through my shirt.
He grabbed me around the throat with both his hands,
Leaving them traumatised and unable to work.
It's then left me questioning, is this the job that I want to carry on with?
But while the violent criminals responsible are hunted down and brought to justice, our protectors fight to get well and back on the job.
I'm not going to get beaten by somebody decided they're going to try and hurt me.
Ready to face the next critical incident.
Stand still! Police routine, just show yourself!
Coming up, a Gloucestershire PC risks her life to save a father and son who were unconscious in a gas-filled property.
That's when I saw the boy. He was like a reddish-purple colour. Instantly I thought, oh, he's not breathing. This kid's not breathing.
With assaults on firefighters at their peak on bonfire night, West Yorkshire Fire and Rescue come under attack.
Those bonfires can get out of control. People leave fires unattended.
If we're dealing with the sort of minor things that could be prevented, we're not able to deal with the more serious incidents.
Show me your hands, open the door, walk towards me.
With crime rates on the increase in the West Midlands, we highlight how police are ridding the streets of dangerous weapons.
Turn off the engine, taser officer.
And bringing the offenders to justice.
Get down, get down.
Law enforcement officers face many dangerous and life-threatening situations in the line of duty. But they join up, knowing they must run into the face of danger, not from it. One police officer who wears her badge with pride is PC Sarah Crawford.
Our job is to walk into absolute chaos, and from the moment you arrive, all eyes are on you to do something. There's a lot of pressure.
Originally from Northern Ireland, Sarah has been a Gloucestershire Constabulary Response Officer for 22 years.
People may assume that because I work in the Cotswolds that we do a lot of tea drinking and leaning on gates, talking to farmers. And if I'm honest, prior to coming to work here, I may have been guilty of that myself. I can honestly say I have been busier here than any other post that I've been in. I've been in more critical and dangerous situations here than anywhere else. So the perception that it's a Sleepy Hollow is incorrect. I've been on response my entire career. I've never done anything else. And in that time, I've come up against all the things that you would imagine a response officer. We are the people who are first on the scene. When all hell is breaking loose, it's the people who do my role that will turn up first. We don't get to pick and choose what we go to. When that 999 goes in, you are going and you'll deal with whatever you find when you get there.
Sarah's a very dedicated officer. For somebody who's been in the, with the police now for, I think, 22 years, she has still got the enthusiasm of somebody who's just starting. She relentlessly pursues criminals.
And in February 2019, Sarah and her crewmate attended an extremely unexpected incident when they rescued an unconscious father and son from a gas-filled house.
It had been a very typical Sunday, just taking over on jobs, nothing too dramatic, and the radio sparked into life. The teenage son. The radio dispatcher said that it was a male-female partnership and they were separated, and the teenage son was staying with father for the weekend, and mother had been unable to get him on the phone or raise dad or raise son, which didn't seem particularly concerning. And the part that really stuck in my mind that made me think this is not your average call was when the operator said that the lady had seen that her teenage son hadn't been on social media for 15 hours. And it did make my stomach sink a little bit, because I would expect that there would have been some sort of activity either through game consoles or phones or whatever. So when they said that, you know, it was a rocket went off in my brain that we had a real problem.
Concerned something was seriously wrong, Sarah and her colleague raced to the father's house.
As soon as I went inside, I was instantly aware that there was a really odd smell, like a burnt smell. I could see that the boiler in the kitchen had basically blown off the wall. I could see there was scorch marks all over the place, and straight away my brain thought, this is gas.
Sarah quickly opened all the windows in the house and radioed the force control room for help.
There's seen some sort of explosion in the kitchen with a gas boiler.
I said to the other officer that I was working with, go upstairs, check upstairs, I'll check downstairs. Went into the lounge, and that's when I saw the boy. He was purple, like a reddish purple colour. Instantly I thought, oh, he's not breathing. This kid's not breathing. Give him a little bit of pain into the sternum to see if maybe perhaps he was shallow breathing, and I couldn't quite see it, but there was no reaction at all. So I started doing CPR, and he actually did come back quite quickly. It was almost like movie style. It's not normally like that. I could see the colour of him change a little bit. There was like a rattling where he was obviously trying to get air in by himself. So I thought, he's breathing a little bit, I can get him out of this building now. So rather unceremoniously dragged him out onto the grass.
Sarah has the teenager safely outside, but there's no sign of her colleague or the boy's father.
We managed to get the boy out of the property, trying to get some air into him.
So, Sarah, okay. How are you?
The control room inspector was saying on the radio, I need you to get out. I need you to preserve your own lives, wait for the fire service and get out.
Can you make sure you're safe? Can you get yourself distance from this?
I wouldn't say I was ignoring it. I would say that I took that information on board and made an informed decision to not listen, perhaps. I went back into the house because the job wasn't done. My colleague was still inside, and there was still another casualty in the house.
If Sarah had waited for backup, even the closest backup would have likely been sort of 10 minutes or more away. It could have made the difference between life and death.
I could have waited, but there could have been a boy growing up without his dad. I went upstairs, and my colleague was with the boy's father, who was unconscious but breathing, and he had been very, very ill and vomited everywhere. We didn't know at that point, was there more gas building up even though we'd vented the property? Was there a further chance of, you know, there being some sort of explosion? So the priority was to get him out of the house and get away from whatever was making him ill in that house. We started dragging him down the stairs, and then as we were partway through doing that, 2 paramedics turned up, and the 4 of us were basically dragged him out the front door and out onto the grass.
With the patient safely outside the property, medics arrive at the scene.
It all just came together at once. I remember hearing the thundering of 2 air ambulances. I just looked over my shoulder just to see them come landing down at the same time. That was sweet. That was a lovely moment, because I thought, HEMS are here, this is good. I'm very, very happy to hand over. When I handed over to the doctor and he said, you know, how long, what time did you start CPR, how long were you doing it for? And I had a really brief chat with him, and he just sort of patted me on the shoulder and he said, very casually, he said, you saved his life then, didn't you? And that's the only bit that kind of made me a bit wobbly.
Thanks to Sarah and her colleagues' heroic actions, father and son make a full recovery. And as a precaution, the 2 PCs had to be checked for side effects.
I didn't feel particularly ill after. Felt a bit sick, but I think that might have been a bit of sort of adrenaline. So we did have to go to the hospital and we had checks to make sure that we weren't suffering from carbon monoxide poisoning, but we were released later that night without any sort of ongoing issue.
With the all clear from the doctors, Sarah goes straight back to her frontline role.
We returned to work the next day, as we were due to. Everybody's different and everybody has coping mechanisms, and mine is to continue on, not to dwell or overanalyze it. You know, it doesn't work for everybody, and I'm not saying it's the way forward, but I just wanted to get back to work and continue.
And Sarah continues to be 100% dedicated to the job.
The whole point of being a police officer, our whole existence, is that sometimes you will have to put your welfare on the back burner for the sake of another person. It might not even be someone who actually wants your help. You know that it's scary, you know that it's dangerous, and you are aware of all those risks, but you go and do it anyway.
Crime figures show that attacks on cash machines have doubled in the last 4 years. The annual cost to communities is around £150 million. In Hull, the police received an early morning report that an ATM theft was underway at a leisure park. Caught red-handed, the driver tried to make an escape. His accomplice, desperate to get back in the vehicle, was pursued on foot by another officer.
Yeah, Lima Romeo, Quebec Echo 3-1, we've got the vehicle in the car park. He's going to ram the officer if I'm not careful, I'm going to take him out.
Worried for his colleague's safety, the police driver took decisive action. Contact is made, but the suspect refused to stop. In a desperate attempt to flee, the suspect drove into a tree, running over his accomplice and injuring the officer.
Yeah, Quebec Echo 3-1, he's just run his associate over, trying to get the officer as well. Stand by one.
To end the pursuit, another tactical contact is made, this time at speed. The suspect's car is disabled and the driver is arrested. The driver was charged with burglary, dangerous driving and assault. He was jailed for 5.5 years. His accomplice was also charged with burglary and was given a 2-year jail sentence. The run-up to Bonfire Night is one of the busiest periods of the year for firefighters across the UK.
Bonfire Night is quite a challenging period for a fire and rescue service because those bonfires can get out of control, people light fires unattended.
We can get deliberately set car fires or smaller scale things like rubbish bins or fireworks through letterboxes, which has obviously got a very serious consequence.
In addition to that, our normal business, our core business doesn't stop. People still have house fires, people are still involved in car accidents.
That's always the worry that if we're dealing with the sort of minor things that could be prevented, we're not able to deal with the more serious incidents.
The bonfire period is also a time when attacks on crews are at their worst.
Attacked by fireworks, the road is blocked.
We've seen fireworks aimed at fire crews, along with our other blue light partners, so police and ambulance crews as well, and also missiles, bricks, stones, that type of thing.
In the year leading up to November 2021, more than 930 firefighters in England alone were attacked while on duty.
The fireworks do get used as weapons occasionally. We've had fireworks hit fire engines before, and we've had people firing fireworks over our heads or even at us, and that really is quite dangerous.
We try and educate young people around the dangers of fire and fireworks and the consequences. So we just have to work with our partners to try and reduce the risk to fire crews and protect them as much as we can.
Request urgent attendance of police. Unable to retreat at this moment.
Anyone who does that is putting an emergency service worker at real danger. If one of us gets injured, that has an impact on how we can respond to other emergencies around the county. We've not got an endless supply of firefighters. If we get injured or if we get a vehicle that's damaged through fireworks, that can have a serious impact on how we can respond as an organisation to fires and RTCs, etc.
Almost 18% of attacks on fire crews are recorded around bonfire night. In West Yorkshire, Watch Commander Steve O'Keefe has been fulfilling his childhood dream of being a firefighter for 14 years.
We can make a difference. We might not make a difference on any given day, but there's one day where you will make a difference. You're serving a purpose, helping, and to do that with some of your colleagues you consider your closest, and seeing the impacts that have in the community, it's what's not to love, really.
But at times, Steve and his crew are subjected to attacks from the very communities they work hard to protect.
There's certain areas at my old station where you're guaranteed you were going to get attacked. And we're not talking about just bonfire night either. This could be summer or Christmas. You know if you're going to a certain area at a certain place at a certain time to get your helmet on and just expect something to be coming our way. And 9 times out of 10, that would be the case.
Steve's station faces the same issues around bonfire night as others up and down the country.
I remember my first ever bonfire night period, and we were on a night shift, and we went out at doors at 7, and I don't think we got back in till middle of morning, and it was just job to job to job, and you're out, you're staying out. And again, you never know what you're faced with or what's around the corner. Stones being thrown, to fireworks, to verbal abuse, to getting trapped and ambushed. It's such a wide range of incidents. You're never expecting a brick or a firework, or you don't know what to expect. Some events are as well as supervised, and it can just escalate from there. They see the blue lights turning up, and then they all automatically see it as a hostile emergency service.
In 2018, just days before bonfire night, Steve and his colleagues came under fire yet again.
We got turned out to a bonfire in the middle of a field, probably just after tea time, so traffic was quite heavy. And I remember going down the road leading to where we needed to be. Traffic built up, there were cars coming up, they were double parked, so we were struggling, we were like jockeying for position. And then we saw a fire at the field, so we pulled over. I've got off a fire engine to take a look, established the fire were in the middle of the field, and then quickly you saw a little glimmer of like a firework fuse, and then all of a sudden fireworks just coming over our direction.
As a gang of youths began launching fireworks at their vehicle, one firefighter captured the incident on their phone.
Everyone just hit us dead on.
Can we have police in this incident? We are getting peppered.
So I remember quickly scooting back round to my side at fire engine and jumping back on, and then just telling my driver, we need to get out of here, which was quite difficult at that time because of the traffic build-up. So then my concerns at crew, obviously there's members of public around there as well, what are in firing line. Luckily for members of public, every single one hit us, and you could hear the thud as it hit the side of the appliance, and you could hear them exploding underneath the appliance.
There, this kid knows that's fireworks.
I'll tell you, we're an energised scene, trying to get out of there and trying to keep everyone safe and taking into consideration member of public as well, because bear in mind if we move, what's behind us, what it might hit. But that noise as everyone hit that thud and then the explosion. Your adrenaline's going, so you don't have much time to be scared. You're worried, but you're just kicking into overdrive. So I remember getting on radio control and just making them aware that we're going to withdraw from that area and wait for further assistance from police.
We're going to withdraw from this area until police come.
I remember what sticks in my head is when we were driving away, it's like he adjusted his trajectory to intercept us as we were driving that road, and he did it every time. If a firework were to hit one of the crew members, I think the damage that could cause would be severe, not both physically but mentally as well. I remember quite a lot of attacks I've had over the years, and nowhere near as bad as that, but they stick with you. But it's a firework, it's a projectile, it's going at tremendous speed, and it's got explosives in it, so if that impacts with skin and explodes around you, there's going to be severe burns, if not skin damage. I dread to think, you know, and the impacts that has moving forward. It's, yeah, scary.
Steve works closely with his boss, Benji Bush, to try and prevent attacks on their service year on year.
All we can do is keep trying and hopefully just keep reducing fire calls and obviously the attacks that we sometimes experience.
I think that's the one thing fire service is known for, though, isn't it? You know, we don't give up. So if there is a problem that we're faced with, we tackle it.
Firefighters are husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, and they're going home at the end of the day, and they've all got families. And to come to work, they're extremely well trained, they're very proud of the job they do, and to be subjected to that kind of behaviour is quite upsetting for myself as a manager, it's upsetting for the crews, and it is unacceptable. So we do work hard with partners to try and stamp this out. You know, we always say even one attack is one too many, so that's where we're trying to get to, and so we can stop attacks on blue light crews.
I think over the years since joining fire service, I'd most definitely say it's got worse. We are actively trying to campaign to stop this and show why it is a bad thing, protect the protectors, but it doesn't always have the impact that you expect.
Although the attackers at Steve's incident escaped charges that night, the following year brought a strange twist of fate.
1 year later, bonfire period, we went to the same area, attending a similar sort of fire. Usual sketch, really. And then there were some youths there, just kicking about. And, you know, I do hearts and minds, I always chat to local kids in the community or adults or whoever's kicking about. I just try and engage and, you know, just show that we all are human. And we got chatting to this group of youths, and we were discussing about the previous year how we'd been attacked in that same location, at that same field by fireworks. And these youths pulled out the phone and showed us a video of it from their side, and it were them what were doing the attack. They thought it was a bit of a joke, laughing and joking about it. And at the start, we were a little bit shocked because you're in a position a year later, what do you do really? And I remember one of my crew members saying, you know, what we're going to do about this. And apart from report it to police and say these individuals on this street claim to be a year later, is it really in public interest? And so there wasn't a lot I really could do, so we just try and educate them. I remember having a chat with them, saying, you know, the implications that could have had if they'd hit one of my crew, and, you know, how stupid it was. But does it really sink in? Yeah, I dare say I'd probably just do it again the year after. But yeah, it was bizarre. That's something you'd never in a million years think could happen. You'd get attacked a year later, guy would show you them on video doing it.
Despite numerous attacks on Steve and his crew, it hasn't affected his love for the job.
I don't think I'd ever let someone who's like that ruin that. You know, it's something I've wanted all my life. The bad that you take with the good. Unfortunately for me, the good outweighs the bad.
Later, we follow a fire and rescue team on bonfire night as they're kept busy with a spate of abandoned fires.
When it's burning, it's giving off poisonous chemicals. It's toxic to us, it's toxic to the environment. What they've left there is now a mangled mess of melted wheelie bins and rubbish.
Still to come. During lockdown, police intuition leads to the questioning of an on-the-run prisoner in central Birmingham, before things take a violent turn.
Yeah, sorry. We just got my mouse just punched us both in the face with this. He's kicked my colleague.
And we follow Humberside Fire and Rescue as they prepare for their busiest night of the year. In the West Midlands, crime rates have surged, with violence against a person increasing by a staggering 45% in the year up to June 2021. Possession of weapons has also gone up by 45%, with the force recording 4,500 offences involving a knife. But frontline police officers are dedicated to keeping the public safe and getting violent offenders off the streets. In August last year, a gunman opened fire at a man in a Birmingham street in a suspected drugs dispute. He pulled the trigger from close range as his target cowered down by a fence and wheelie bins. He then discharged 2 more rounds as his target ran to a car before speeding away. The offender was tracked down to a Birmingham flat where an armed unit surrounded the block. With no means to escape, he cooperated with the officers.
Hello, all police. Okay, I want you to slowly open the door with hands up, nothing in your hands, okay? Okay, show me your hands. Open the door a bit more. Show me your hands, open the door. Open the door. Walk towards me. Keep your hands there. Stop, turn around.
After a search of the car he had access to, the police found a revolver which was loaded with 5 rounds. 3 had been fired. A search of the flat revealed more than 100 wraps of crack cocaine, heroin and cannabis, plus around £16,000 in cash. The offender admitted possessing a firearm with intent to endanger life and drug supply. He was jailed for 21 years. He is appealing his sentence. Sometimes the best weapon in the police's arsenal is their own intuition. In November 2020, at the height of lockdown, a central Birmingham foot patrol stopped 2 men acting suspiciously.
Are we both in town today?
To get the new full of duty because I can't sit around in lockdown.
Where do you live?
I live in Stetchford.
Stetchford, all right. It's not appropriate travel. Okay. I'm going to check your details because blatantly you both saw us walking up here and you turned around and you've come walking around us.
Without warning, one man violently kicked out at an officer and knocked him to the ground. As his colleague grappled with the man, he lashed out. She received a punch to the face.
Get off! Get off!
Let go!
Get me!
Let go!
The officers attempted to restrain the man and called for backup.
Can you officers
The man continued to resist, and the officers resorted to using pepper spray in an attempt to incapacitate him. Assisted by local security guards, they eventually managed to put the cuffs on him and make the arrest.
Okay, look.
Oh, you get down!
Get back. Hang on back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. We just got one mouse just punched us both in the face with this.
Kick me now.
This kicked my colleague.
Right, get down to the back. That's the same thing, but how was your face? You did not mention one question, so I do what you later in court.
Where was you born?
Born.
Oh, so he told me different names.
Where's the week, Riff? Where's the week?
Wanted for absconding.
Checks revealed that he was on the run from prison.
Something a bit more serious than a bit of weed.
Job done, one officer reflected on her successful policing intuition. And despite the ordeal, it's still appearances that count.
Check my hat on.
He was convicted of assault on an emergency worker. He was jailed for 19 months, which included 13 months for absconding prison. Successful arrest of those trying to outrun the law requires both bravery and determination. In September 2021, Birmingham officers were closing in on 2 carjackers.
Into old motorway, stand by, we're going to try and box it here, Wayne. Screen. Turn off the engine now! Turn off the engine! Taser officer!
The men made a desperate attempt to swerve from the law and smashed into a parked car.
Turn off your engine, taser!
With all escape routes seemingly closed and a taser sighted on him, the driver surrendered. His accomplice had other ideas and tried to make a run for it, but the cops were soon on his tail. Thanks to the tenacious and quick-footed officers, he's tracked to a nearby garden where he was finally apprehended. One man admitted robbery and dangerous driving. He was jailed for 7 years. His accomplice was also convicted of robbery and received 7 years and 9 months. Motorcycles are easy prey for thieves. In England and Wales, they are 7 times more likely to be stolen than other vehicles. In Newcastle, a stolen motorcycle's anti-theft tracker triggered a cat-and-mouse pursuit across the city. A police helicopter kept the robbers in sight.
If anyone get in a position to get Mr. Sting's authorised by the property.
The air crew communicate to the ground team that the rider is headed in their direction.
He's actually going to come towards you by the looks of it. He's turned left on that path, coming towards Warbottle.
An officer was on the move, ready to intercept. He took to his feet to head off the robber. The officer decided stealth was the smart option to end this.
He's trying to say he's trying to get off footbridge or not. No, he's not. He's still through the grass area around the back of Cornhill. Burnwell Avenue, across the new builds.
He crouched behind a hedge before pouncing to make the arrest.
You're under arrest. Suspicious theft of a motorbike. Understand? Just say anything. May harm the offence. Don't mention one question. What's your name? Well, I don't call. You're going to do something again. Before you chance. Hand up your back. Hand up your back. You're also under arrest on suspicion of dangerous driving and failed to stop. No.
The offender admitted theft of a motor vehicle, dangerous driving, driving without a license and without insurance. The youth was handed a 12-month driving ban and also locked up for 18 months at a youth detention centre. It's the 5th of November, and like all fire crews around the UK, Humberside Fire and Rescue are preparing for a full-on bonfire night.
At the moment, we're trying to gather some information on the major bonfires that have been built around the Orchard Park area. We've got some intelligence come through, some photographs and locations, so we're looking at access routes into them areas. Some of them are dead ends, so we're looking at our escape routes if we come under attack, and also rendezvous points for oncoming appliances if we need to make pumps.
We've got to look at the safest way for us to go in. So at the moment they're building in this area, so we're just figuring out how to attack from there really. And then we've also got reports for second one being built sort of down here in this area. It's one of Hull's more deprived areas. We're there quite a lot, so we do know a lot of the people that are living there. And usually we're quite welcome there. But tonight, with it being the weekend, a bit of a busy night for them guys. If they've got themselves intoxicated, they might not be quite as friendly. The way they're building it, it looks like it's a bit of a community event, so they're not going to want us ruining that for them. So you just have to bear in mind that it is their area at the end of the day. And we're ruining the fun. So
when it is busy on a bonfire night, we would expect to be called out around tea time, and you're out then until 8, 9, maybe 10 o'clock at night, just continuing from one fire to the other. Hopefully, most will be controlled burning with responsible adults in attendance, but anything that's too large or is getting out of control, then we'll have to intervene. The worst situation is a fire that spreads to other people's property or to buildings, so that is the main concern.
The station has 2 types of appliances to send to incidents, depending on their severity.
We have a small fires unit crewed with 2 people. That will be mobilised to small fires, bin fires, small rubbish fires, and the crew will make an assessment at that time when they attend as to whether they can deal with that or whether they require more resources. So that's the first attack. And then we have 4 on our main appliance. The normal fire engine as such will attend all other incidents.
Bonfire night is now in full swing. And the Small Fires Unit has been called out to an unattended fire in a local park.
Well, obviously, bonfire night's the busiest night of the year for us. We get lots of bonfires. Sometimes we don't put them out, obviously, because the kids are there and he's a responsible adult, so we leave it and we don't put it out. If they're unattended, then we have to put them out. We only have 2 on this engine, so this goes to all rubbish fires, bin fires, that kind of thing. So what it does, it frees up a fire engine if we have a major call to a house fire, then that frees the fire engine up, that can go to a house fire. We've got 4 blokes on a fire engine, so they can go to that and deal with that, where we've got 2 on this, so only 2 go to these kind of fires.
Job done. Glenn and his crewmate are off to their next call. Meanwhile, Carl, Pete and the main pump crew have been called out to another park after reports of a number of abandoned fires.
So we've got 4 unattended fires on the park. OK, Pete, we'll be here in a minute. And there's a 5th one around the corner, but that might be an organised event. These ones consisting of wheelie bins and shopping trolleys. And we are going to extinguish them, but the police are now discussing with one of the residents who's adamant that we aren't going to extinguish them. So once they've sorted that issue out, we'll continue extinguishing the fires. We'll deal with these and then we'll move on to the next.
The main pump needs to relocate to the other end of the park to deal with the other fires. And they have a handy piece of kit for small fires in hard-to-reach areas. The Scotty backpack is a rucksack full of water which they use to extinguish remote fires.
Little Scotty backpack, we can just keep bringing more and more water if we need to. It's quite a small fire. So it makes it difficult, but there's nothing really that we can't get to.
When they're unattended like these and there's smoke, it'll be causing a nuisance for properties nearby, then it's something we've got to extinguish.
As well as extinguishing fires, crews can also be called on to help prevent a fire from occurring in the first place.
The police have asked us to apply water to a sofa that's been left in the street to prevent you setting fire to it.
It's proving to be a busy night, and the crew get called to yet another park fire.
So Wheeler Bin police are in attendance. From the police, apparently these bins are put here and they were ignited earlier on this evening, so views have been back in the area and set fire to it again. They've pulled about 6 or 7 wheelie bins into one area and set fire to them. When it's burning, it's giving off poisonous chemicals. It's toxic to us, it's toxic to the environment. It's just the damage that it's causing in the area. We've come to a nice park and what they've left there is now just a mangled mess of melted wheelie bins and rubbish. And it's going to take a bit of a clean-up job from the council now.
After a hectic night, all the crews eventually return to the station.
So the shift's not been too bad. I'd say it's doubled the normal call-outs. Mainly small bonfires. Small fires unit has attended a good number of them. They all need dealing with, and if it was just 1 or 2, then it could be dealt with, but when there's so many, all the pumps are busy. Although we've been busy, in some respects it's been successful. There's been no major fires, no fire spread to properties, and there's been no attacks on the firefighters from this station as well.
So there's only one thing left for the crew to do tonight.
Nice cup of tea.